Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Lydia with Raindrop Lila, and today I want to share this journal with you guys. This journal got so chunky. I just kept working on it and it just got a lot bigger than I thought it would be. It's so when it's tied up, it's 4 inches, approximately 4 inches thick. And I also wanted to actually measure it. It's about 5.5 to 6 inches wide, and it's about 9.5 inches tall. Okay, here's how the cover is. And I just tied it up with this bit of yarn. I love the way it looks, and it kind of keeps everything contained. And so I usually love to do that with my journals, especially once they are filled up. I'm going to show you guys some of the beads. And oops, one just fell off. Oh my goodness. Okay, so one of these fell off, so I'm going to... I just tightened the little jump ring and I am tying it back on here. Okay, so here is kind of a close-up of all the little beads. I added some of the buttons on jump rings also, and I just love having all these bits. Sometimes they do tangle up because they are so many, so I just kind of untangle them. And it's actually very soothing to just kind of handle them and work with them, I think. So I kind of untangled them just a little bit. They kind of tend to, kind of tangle together a little bit. But I just kind of detangled them, and they're fun to work with. Oh my goodness. I just have one that fell off. So sometimes these, they might come off because it's wax thread. So sometimes these little knots will untie, which to me is not a problem. I just will tie them back up. That's how I kind of deal with it. But if they do untie, you just kind of tighten them on here. And if you don't like them, you can always just snip them off and use the jewels for something else, or the buttons. But I actually love them on my journals, and I think they're a really fun interactive part of a journal, and I love that. I love playing with them and kind of untangling them. I find that it's part of the experience of a journal. At least that's how I feel about it for me. And yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I tied this up with this pretty brown yarn. I love this color. I actually really loved working with all these colors. They're really rich, darker colors, and I think they're so pretty. And I actually love this mustard marigold color. Actually, this is... I think I'm going to call it the Marigold journal. So the textile collection that I had is called the Marigold textile collection, and it all sold out. So what I think I'm going to do is call this the Marigold journal. Okay, and I included this feather with it. I just think it's a perfect addition because this is a nature themed journal. And oh my goodness, look how thick it is. And if I measure it like this, it's about 5 inches thick. See that? But it'll squish a little bit down once you wrap it up with the yarn. And there is a whole lot going on in here. But I also have a lot of journaling pages. So I would say this is a journaling journal, but you can also use it as a scrapbook journal. That's what I do with my journals. I like to write in them, but I also love to include my photos in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Well, actually, I want to talk about the cover first. Actually, Okay, so I want to talk about the cover first. What I did was I embroidered the stems of these flowers, and I used one of those flowers, just a silk flower. I took it apart and I folded it in half, and then I embroidered it on here, and you can see some of the stems kind of overlap and they go down, and I love the way it looks. I feel like it has like a natural flow of the stems. I love the curve of the flow of the stems. I think it looks really pretty. And then I added this trim on here. I hand sewed the trim. I hand sewed the ruffle. And I actually, when I stitched, there's batting in here. So when I stitched the batting, the layers together, I actually sewed over, let's see. I tried to sew it where there's already the quilted stitches so you can't see it. So it's basically like an invisible seam. But I do have some stitching on the side here that you can kind of see. Okay. And so I have lots of ruffles on here. Everything is hand stitched. I did not use a sewing machine because I actually love hand stitching, and I feel like it gives me a lot more freedom for when I create a journal if I don't use a sewing machine. So I do hand stitch all my journals, and I also love the look of hand stitching, and I love this. I did a lot of slow stitching. So like the spine, this is all slow stitched. I have some slow stitching on here too. I don't know if you can see that, but I think it's so pretty. So when you open the journal up and you tuck something in, you'll notice all the little stitches, and I think that there is such a beauty in that, and I hope that I hope you guys enjoy this this flip through, and I hope you guys are inspired by it. It does take a lot of time to do the hand stitching, but it really adds so much, I think, to a journal. Okay, so then I have this lace pocket in here which holds these pieces, but I wanted to talk about this tree. This tree is made up of some of this yarn that I have, and I just love trees in my nature journals. I feel like they are very symbolic. I feel like they symbolize, not just like, I think they symbolize like your family tree, the different generations, like the branches can symbolize like the children and the new generation. The tree trunk, I think, can symbolize like you and your spouse. And then the roots can symbolize like the grandparents. So just like a family tree. But for me, a tree also means growth, and maybe different parts of your life could be the branches, and the roots could be like your foundation and what you believe or what's meaningful to you. So as on a personal level, that's kind of what I think of a tree. So I love using trees in my journals. I just think they're so beautiful, and there's something so special about them. So of course I wanted to sew this yarn and make a tree out of it. And so everything is hand stitched on here. I actually went through and I stitched all the way up, and then I stitched back down for each piece, right? And same with the roots. And then I came back and I added the colorful leaves and then the little flowers. Okay, and then these pieces, these little appliques and the leaves are actually glued on here with Fabri-Tac glue. Okay, so if you wanted to do something like that, that's how I did it. And I actually have a reel showing my stitching process. Okay, it took me maybe 3-4 hours to work on this. I just did it one evening, and I just love the way it came out. I think it's so pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys what I had tucked in here. This is actually a tag from a new printable that I have not released yet. So this one, and same with this piece right here. I have a couple new printables that are coming to my shop soon. So if you are interested in this, stay tuned, because I will have a new release coming soon. I just need to finish it up. But I just couldn't resist using these and this one. I just was so inspired. I had to use it right away. So there's a tag. And then I have, this is from one of my printables, my Botanical 111, okay, is this printable. And I will link down below all the printables I used. Okay, and then this is also a printable that I use. And then, isn't this just so pretty? I love using file folders and embossing them. And so I just added that at the top, and this is like a little notepad. And I did some collaging on here with the vintage paper. And then these are just some of my printables. And then I have some quotes and words that are great to use, the little labels. And so this is a great place to do some journaling. You can add pictures. Okay, so this tucks in here. So the first page, I love this background page. This is from my, is it Charlotte or Margaret? I think it's my Charlotte collection, and I will link it below. But I love this. I think the colors worked really well. Okay, so this is actually an embossed envelope. I embossed a one of those craft colored envelopes, and then I actually layered on the flap, right? So I just did some layering, and I added this piece right here. I added a ruffle and then a little butterfly. Isn't that so cute? Okay, so this opens up, and then I have some pieces in here that can be worked with. So you can just use these in the journal. You can also add a letter in here if you wanted to, or some journaling. I love using envelopes like this for journaling. I use some washi tape from Amity Bloom to kind of reinforce the spine. Okay. Okay, so here I have a tag, and then I have this image of the horse. Isn't that so beautiful? Again, I love the colors and how well they work in this journal. I actually added this. This is also from my Botanical collection that I came out with, I think about a month ago. And I just glued it down on here. I love this paper with the brown print. I think it's so pretty. There's a lot of journaling space right here. I added a ticket just so for some interest on this page. This is a book page right here, and I wrapped this image around it. And then there's lots of journaling space on the back. Here's another journaling card, and they just get okay. I just love keeping them together like this. I love the layering. And then I have this tag, and I added this on here. I love the labels. I love to look through my labels with the words because some words just feel right. And I felt like this was the right one for this tag because a tree can be a result of a decision, right? So I thought, that's kind of cool because a tree can be like either the result of a decision. It could be a project. It could be symbolic for almost anything. So I thought that would be cool. Okay. And then I have this ruffle, and I added the little flowers on there. Okay, this is a new printable also. I love it. It's going to be, I think I'm going to call it my landscape printables. And so I have a lot of nature images. That one is part of it, and so is this one. And I just love landscapes. I think they're so beautiful. So I had to have this in this journal because this journal is really inspired by nature and trees and leaves. And it's just the color of nature to me. And so that's why I decided to include that. I love this page. It's got all these doilies on there. Isn't that just so pretty? And of course, I love the way the colors tie in. This is from one of my kits. I think it was Autumn Breeze. Okay. Then I did some stitching on that ruffle. I included one of these on here. I think this is so pretty. It's one of those textile packs, and it's got all these fabric pieces. You can either work with these, or you can actually, let's see if I have something here. You can actually use words like I have a printable here, or part of a printable. This was my idea, but I didn't do it on here. But I thought, how cool would it be to cut these pieces off, and you can glue one down for each fabric piece. I think that would be cute and like a little surprise. You know what? I think I'm going to include this with the kit. I'm just going to cut this out. And I'm going to include it with this. I'm going to tuck it into the back. So whoever purchases this journal can have that option if they want. They can add it to this right here, or they can use it anywhere they wish. But I thought that would be a cute idea. Okay, here I included this bit of craft. It's almost like a cardstock weight, and it's embossed, and then I included this too. Isn't that so cute? She's so cute. Okay, this is a book page, and I just covered it with a printable, and I did a little bit of collaging on here, and I also added this piece of fabric. I love these colors again. And then I included one of my little button tags. I think it's so, so cute. And it's a little flower button tag. I had a video online. I have a lot of reels that I post sharing either me making them or sharing the different little tags, the textile tags I make. Here is plenty of room for journaling, and then this is great for collaging, or even you can tuck something in there if you wanted to, right? Okay, so this belly band, it's actually, I started with the fabric, with some different fabrics, scraps, and then I actually, I hand stitched. I just thought that would be a really pretty detail to add the roses. That's a woven rose, and then all the little French knots on there. And then I did the little cross stitches. And so this is a belly band. And so you can tuck things in here. I love this. I love the way that looks. I think it's so pretty. And so here is another tag. This tag is also part of this tag, this new printable. So these will be in a new printable that I will have. I was hoping to have them done. I just wasn't able to finish them, but I wanted to share the journal, and I will be sharing the new printable with you guys soon. It's so pretty. I loved working on it, and I love the new colors that I'm using in this printable. But it's funny because I feel like it's a little bit new, this printable, but it also works really well with this journal. Okay? And with like different kits that I already have. Excuse me. Okay, so this is a little printable. This was, I can't remember, TJ. I think it's a TJ kit. And this was the ephemera part. And so I had probably three or four pieces of ephemera on the page. And I decided not to cut them out each individually and just fold it in half. So I cut them across, and there's a little bit of white space in the middle, but then I just added this fabric to cover it up, and it became like a little card. Technically, you can add more pages on the inside, just sew them inside, and it can become a mini journal. I added this aesthetic photo. I have a lot of aesthetic photos. If you guys love using photography of nature, I have so many in my Etsy shop. I have a huge collection, and you get quite a lot of photos that are edited. I edited every single one, and for like a dreamy, kind of a moody look, and I feel like they work really well with quotes or verses. And I've been using them for a couple of years, and I still love using them. Like even this one would be really great to just write a quote right over it. or maybe a Bible verse would be great too. Okay, so that's kind of my idea of how I love using them. I included these journaling cards in there, and I'm just going to tuck them right in there. Okay, this journal I was going to mention has 7 signatures. Oh my gosh, this journal is so thick. I usually try to stay within 2 to 3 signatures per journal, but this one I ended up slow stitching the cover, and then I realized it had to be thicker, and then by the time I finished, it just grew and grew. And I also love to, when I create my journals, I love to add a lot of texture. I do a lot of layering, and so then it got even thicker. So it's a pretty big journal. It's almost like you're getting, 3 journals because there's 7 signatures, right? I think I did a sneak peek on Instagram, and I originally had this as the cover. So you can technically move this if you like this better on the cover page, like the first page. But I don't know. I mean, I love them both, and it would have been fine. But I was working with this printable, and then I was like, oh, I really want to make something with it. And so I made that for the first page. Okay. So, but this, I love this one too. I think it's really great. So this opens up, and then this is great for writing on. And then I included this. This could be glued down here, or you can use it anywhere in the journal. You can even glue it down, but I love to leave that option open so that the owner can move it anywhere they wish, or they can glue it down if they wanted to. Okay. And I have these pieces. I have one of these cool bags. I love these. This is from my friend Denise. Okay, so I glued one of these leaves on there. I think it's so pretty, and I love the colors and how that looks. I made this little booklet out of some scrappy little papers. It's kind of like a notepad, and I included different pieces in here. I did some collaging on here so that you can just sit down and just write if you wanted to. You can also do more collaging, but I thought it would be a cute little addition to this journal, and it just tucks in here. And I was going to say that some of these papers and some of the papers I used in this journal are from my journal maker kits. So I have a lot of like woodland, nature themed images in here and book pages. So that's what I use for this journal. And I only have like 3 of these left, I think. So I'll show you guys what journal maker kits I have available at the end. Okay, aren't those so cute? I love the owls. They're so cute. They're like friends or sisters. I have sisters. I have 6 sisters, so that whenever I see like a row of a bunch of like little animals, I think of that. So this is me and some of my sisters. Isn't that so cute? The mouth looks like a heart. Okay, so plenty of journaling space right here. And then I have the little ruffle with the pom-pom trim. The pom-poms are actually hand dyed by me. They're coffee dyed. And then I have a ruffle here with the orange roses. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I think it's so pretty. And again, plenty of space for writing or for adding your own pieces to it. I have this journaling card. Again, it's perfect for writing. I cut this flower out and I glued it on this card. And I have a book page here. I love this paper and how yellowed it is. This is again part of my new kit, so you guys are getting a sneak peek. I haven't shown it anywhere, but you guys are getting a sneak peek of it here. This is part of my Daisy printable, and I thought it worked really well right over the page. I love how you can see the writing. I did a little bit of collaging. I added this bit here. This is great because you can add some writing here, and then you can do more collaging here if you wanted to. Okay, so here I have the other side of that bag, and I did, again, some collaging or layering on here, and I love that. And this is, again, one of those images from my I think they're called Moody Photos. If you type in aesthetic photos, you'll find it. I will link them below, okay? So you guys can find them easily that way. I included some more pieces in here. So cute. I minimized some of these to get them the size. This one right here is from Cornelia's garden. Oops. And they tuck in here. I did, again, some layering on here or collaging. I just love the way this looks. I think it looks great. Okay, this is from Cornelia's garden. This might be from William Morris. I love these colors, though. Aren't they so pretty? This is Olivia Grace. Again, plenty of room to just journal right here. And then you have, like, the print. I love that. I love seeing the print from the books. Okay, so I have this right here. Isn't that so cute? I love that with the house and the flowers. And then I just added that sentiment on there, and then plenty of room for journaling. This would be great for, like, if you like to write in the morning, to just kind of write a sentiment on there. Okay, and then I have this as a journaling card, and they get tucked in here. This right here is a hidden paper clip. Okay, so I have one of those flowers, and I used some fabric, and I just made this. Isn't that so cute? And I love the way it sticks out on the edge. Just like that. Isn't that cute? Okay, and I love this, too. I love this, coffee dyed paper. It's a little bit more grungy, but I love it, and I love working with this. I experimented a bit with getting different types of patterns with the coffee, and I love this one. I think it's great because you can actually journal just right here, and then you can decorate the top with, like, butterflies or something. Or you can write up here, and then this right here can be where you just do some collaging. Or you can just journal here and leave the rest blank, just as white space, right? I don't know. I love the way it turned out, and I think it's really great. And I still have some more of that paper. I have some coffee grunge papers in my shop, and that's what I used for this. Okay, so these actually get tucked in here, right? So I have a tag, and I just glued it to some fabric, and I love this color. I love the way that looks. And then this is, again, one of my printables, and this is a great place to just journal. So if you love nature, this is like a great, I hope this really inspires you. I love the mushroom background paper, and then I love the trees too. Aren't those just great? I think they're so cute. Again, I love this paper with the variations of the coffee. I did a little tab here with corrugated cardboard, and then this really pretty lace on top. I love the texture. And then again, lots of journaling space. This is from Olivia Grace. I hand sewed these little hearts on there. Okay. I added this fabric tag on there. I just love the way it looks, and I love the colors. I think it works so well with this journal. I've been so inspired by fabrics and, like, their colors and the way they work together. I think it looks so great, and look how great they complement this page. I just love that. And I also love the writing, like the text on here. Isn't that great? And I love that. Look what's highlighted. Do it yourself. DIY. Isn't that great? I just noticed that now. But I love this page. That's so cool. Okay. Then I have this page. Again, this is perfect for journaling. You have a little bit of fabric there. This reinforces. I glue it down to reinforce the spine of this paper because it's vintage paper. But it also adds really nice texture. Okay, I have this piece. I added a bit of, like, corduroy. I love the softness of it. And it's just like a little tab at the edge of the card or the photo. Okay, and then here I have a tag just attached. Here's another tag of the little fox. It's so cute. I just backed it up to a file folder. Okay. And then this, I love this one. Isn't that so pretty? Okay, so what I did was I actually started with this folded piece of paper, the book page, and then I added this embossed craft paper on top, and then I added a bit of yellow fabric, and then I added one of my aesthetic photos on there. And then I made a little ruffle, and I embroidered those little French knots, which to me, they're tiny little roses. Isn't that so sweet? Okay, and then when you open it up, I have this bit here, which is just perfect for some journaling. I just love that so much. And then it can be tucked in there. I love this page because of the brown print. I think it works so perfect, and it's a recipe book page, basically. I love this background paper too. I think it's great. And this one. Those are some of my favorites. And isn't that so sweet? Yesterday's kitchen. That is so cute. The cream separator. And then all the pretty leaves, and look, the roots. I love that. And I have this butterfly page. Okay, here I have some more pieces that can be used in the journal. I have a bow that I tied up right there with some fabric. And then I have this tucked in here. So I took a leaf and I just, I sewed the, what are they called? Oh my goodness, my words aren't wording today. I can't remember what they're called. But anyways, I just sewed this leaf on there, and I have some fabric back there too. I backed it up with fabric, cardstock, and then one of my printables. Okay, and then this right here, I loved working on this. This was a fun little project. So I basically started with one of those rug. I gotta show you the box because it's like right here. I'm gonna have to reach over and grab it. Okay, so this is the kit. I picked this up at a thrift store, and it came with this piece. I don't know if you can see it. It's basically a grid, and it's this piece right here. See that? It's like a grid, and you basically, I think there was a pattern or something, and you're supposed to make the horse. You crochet it or something on there. But I actually picked it up just for the yarn, right? I love the feel of the yarn, and not just the feel, but the colors. The colors were so pretty. It included this peachy orange right here, the cream, the teal, the brown. And then these pieces, the rest of these pieces are all fabric. So I had this fabric scraps on my desk, and I had some of the yarns, and I just picked them up and I just started weaving them. And I thought, okay, this is kind of a fun project. And when I was done, I thought, man, I kind of want to add some flowers or roses. So I embroidered the flowers right on there. And then I did the woven rose also. And so that was a fun little project and a little bit different. But I love that. I love to try different things. So once I was done, I attached it to this lace. And then you can actually just journal right there, and then it's just kind of hidden away. And I love that. I think it's so, so cute. Okay. And then again, more journaling space. This is some vintage wallpaper. Okay. And then here I did, this, actually, I glued this little, this label on there. That label is from one of my one of my photo printables. So I made, a couple years back, I edited a bunch of photos and I basically made them this size so that they're smaller and just kind of perfect for a journal. And I think I have two different sets. One set you can order as photos from like a photo place like Shutterfly. Or if you want, you can print them on your printer. Just make sure you pick the 4x6, right? Because they're formatted as a photo, which is like 4x6, right? So that's what I did, but I have two of these per 4x6. And then in between each one, there's a little bit of empty space, which is what, where I put some, like sentiments. Okay. And I kind of thought of sentiments that I think would work with these nature images. So, I hope they inspire you guys. If you guys love nature images, that's what, I love using them. I use them all the time in my journals, in my personal journals. So yeah, that's how I make them. And sometimes I used to print through Costco, but they no longer do that. They actually send all their customers to Shutterfly. And I also print through Shutterfly. Shutterfly has, usually they have pretty good prints, but this was printed on my printer. So you can do either or. You can print on your printer or on, through like a service like Shutterfly or even Amazon, except I tried Amazon photo printing and it was really horrible quality. So I would rather print them at home, honestly. Okay, did some collaging here. I added these pieces. I think that looks so pretty. And then you open it up and you can add something in here if you wanted. You can tuck something in also if you wanted to. Okay, here's some more embroidered ruffles. I love this image. I'm going to try to go faster because I talk a lot. Isn't that pretty? This could be space for journaling. It's funny because I talked to my mom today for 2 hours and then I'm talking on here too. And so I realize I do talk so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I did some collaging on here. And then this is perfect for journaling. Oops. I did some more collaging on here. I love this. This is from my new printable too, but look how good it looks together with this one. They work so well together. And then I have this tag. Isn't that so pretty? I love this right here with all the colorful leaves. And then plenty of space for journaling on the back. Okay, I wanted to show you guys this page actually opens up like this. Isn't that so cute? I love this. You have like room for journaling up here. And then you have the image. You can journal down here too if you wanted to. Okay, and then this just goes there. Okay, and on this side, this is a pocket right here, but then I have a little tag tucked in there. Okay. And then I have, this is again, one of those images from my printable with my moody photos. That's one of them. I love this tree so much. It's so pretty. I have another one of those flowers. Again, I used some fabric to kind of protect the spine of this vintage wallpaper. There's a book page. Again, this could be written on if you love journaling in your journals. I try to give a lot of space even down here. See that? I use textured paper, linen paper for this one. There's a book page. I should count and let you guys know how thick this is, how many pages. Again, perfect for journaling. I love the color of this vintage wallpaper. And you can tuck something in there if you wanted to. Isn't that cute? A 60-year friendship. That is so sweet. I love that. And then all the ladies right there. They're all friends. I did some collaging here. Again, great space for journaling space. I use one of the Edith Holden book pages. It's so pretty, and I love the way it looks with the blue. And then I have another one of those ruffles with the embroidered hearts. Then I made this bit. So this is a tag. I have a bunch of tags that I made for, like for a gratitude journal, and I love using them. And then I used one of these poems as kind of on the cover, and then this is just some vintage book page. And then I'm just gonna add it on here. Actually, it's not a book page, it's a vintage ledger, authentic ledger. I love that. This ledger is actually from Gisela, okay, with lavish laces. And then here's the last page. Again, this is all, look at that. It's all hand sewn, slow stitching. And then I have this pretty lace here. I have some velvet ribbon here, some vintage ribbon, and then I added that little flower with the button. And then I made this piece. Okay, and let's see. This also was hand stitched. I loved making this. I think it was a fun little project. This is a little, it's like it just wraps around. Isn't that so cute? And it just kind of holds it closed. And then I have this piece, and this is also, this is great for journaling on. I added some corrugated cardboard at the top. I just did all this layering. I loved using fabric and paper and just adding all the different textures and layers. And then the back page, isn't that so cute? This is one of my botanical kits. Okay, and then this one right here is Olivia Grace. Isn't that so cute? And it was so simple. I just cut out some of these pieces from one of these pages. See, I just cut out the pieces. So this is great as a page to use in a journal, but these are also great to just cut out. They're just so fun. Even these pieces. That's what I did kind of for this journal, if you guys remember. Some of these pieces I used for my collaging and the borders. And look how cute they are. I just added a little bit of book page and then just layered the little pieces. Right? Even here I used the mushrooms. Okay, and this is a great little place to journal. If you do Bible studies, this is a great little piece to add your notes to it. I think that would be a fun idea. Okay, and then this tucks in here. I actually sewed, I love the look of this lace, and I sewed it in diagonal, but I actually sewed it up a little bit to here, so the pocket is a little bit more narrow, but I feel like it will hold better because it's higher, if that makes sense, and I think it's cute. And then I have this pocket, which is a lot larger. See that? If you needed something bigger for it. So that is the journal. I will add all the details in the description box below. If you want to make something similar, I have the printables in my Etsy shop. I have a huge variety of printables. I currently have over 900 kits, printable kits in my Etsy shop. And I love making digitals, so I always add new digitals to my Etsy shop. But since it's it's grown so much in digital kits, I think I might be retiring some of them. So maybe in the new year, I will retire some of my kits because I want to keep adding more as I make them because I love making them, but I don't want it to be unmanageable by having so many in there. Okay? Okay, so now I wanted to say this is coming to my Etsy shop. So if you're interested, go take a look. I am going to, I'll mark it sold in the description if it sells, so you guys know ahead of time. Oh, I was going to show you guys. Now, the kit that I used for this journal sold, the fabric textile kit. I have journal maker kits, but I do have two more kits that have similar colors to it. So I have these two textile kits available if you were interested. And I have a video on YouTube where I open these up and show what's included. So this is very similar, like color-wise, and it has all the different pieces on the back. Like you've seen me use all these in this journal. Okay, so these are still available in my Etsy shop. I have more textile kits if you love having all the fabrics kind of put together for you to work with. I do that. I actually curate the fabrics and cut them up to make it easy for you to just sit down and create. I also have some coffee grunge papers available in my Etsy shop. Again, I have a video that shows each one and what they look like. This one's 25. This one's 8. So I have some really grungy papers. I have some not so grungy. Like they're not so grungy on the inside, but then this one's grungier. I love them all. I think they all have their place in journals. And then, of course, I have a few of these left. I have 1, 3, and 5. It's a lot of work to open these up and go through them, but I did that in the video, and I show you guys what they come with. So you guys have an idea of the images that they come with, because I used some Woodland animal book pages, and I think that when you have something specific in mind like that, like this, it's nice to have a visual of what's included. Or like this guy, I think it's so cute. So I have those I share in my last videos, which come with what. Okay, so I think that is it. I don't know. Oh, I have one more thing to show you guys. I have some of these available also. These are so cute. I put together these little journal maker kits, and basically you can make a little journal with the tab binding. And I have a video on my channel showing how I make a tab binding journal. And you have like the fabric for the tab binding. You have book pages, and you have the base, each page. Everything was hand cut by me, all these cardboard pieces. And so I use these. I made a couple different journals with a kit like this, and it's super fun to work with. So I thought I'd actually bring them to my shop, so I have some available for you guys. And it includes this little card that I made, and then this little guy. Well, it's not a guy, it's a little girl, all cut out, so you can use that in your journal. And so these are available, and they're on sale in my shop too. Okay? If you comment below in the description box, tell me where you guys are from. I would love to hear where you are from. I'll run a giveaway for all the comments in the description box. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.